All right, so there seems to be a little bit of I don't want to say clamor. I want to use the word clamor to kind of go through how I process some photos, which I think is awesome. I love to explain how I take my shots, what I do, what goes on behind the scenes. Um, so I'm going to process an HDR photo. HDR stands for high dynamic range. It lets you shoot right into the sun if really quick. The human eye and brain together can see about 11 stops of light, and in any given photo, you only get one stop. So, kind of what I like to do is take pictures at different stops, and you can do that with auto bracketing. I got my camera here. I will show you how to set up some bracketing. What you want to do, let's just do this. Okay. And there should be maybe a button. Can you see that? It's called BKT. This one. That's your bracketing. When you hold that down, I'm going to use a screen on the back just because it's way bigger. And what you do is you hold this and see there's 3 frames at 1 stop apiece from -1 to 0 to +1. Then there's 5 from -2 to +2 in steps of 1. And then -3 to +3. If I'm shooting into the sun, I do -3 to +3. If I'm not shooting in the sun, which is 90% of the time, well, actually, I like shooting into the sun, so I take that back. If you're not shooting into the sun, then you can get away with -2 to +2. If you have a camera, my D7000 does it. My D800 goes and stops at 1s, but my D7000 goes and stops at 2. Goes from -2 to +2. It goes -2, 0, +2. 3 shots. So you don't need 5. You just need your endpoints in your middle. But since I have them, I use them. I'll show you how I use them. We'll process it all. Anyways, so let's start with Lightroom. Let's get going. I got Lightroom open here. Here's what I do. You can see my shots from all the way down, and they get gradually brighter as you go. From here's a -3, a -2, a 0, a hang on. That's from -2 to +2. Anyway, you get the idea. But what I've already done is I've gone through, I tagged the one I wanted to work on. Here it is. You can see how it goes from dark to brighter. What I do is I don't touch these at all. I highlight them, export them. I already have a preset set up. All it is the highest quality JPEG into a specific folder. I've already exported these, so I'm going to just skip this step. I'm going to close Lightroom because my computer is telling me that my resources are low. And then those go into the processing folder. And I use a program called Photomatics. I do load bracketed photos. Find the ones I just exported, wherever they may be. Actually, you know what? I do want to overwrite those. I have pictures from my D7000 that have the same name. And we'll wait for those to export. Oh wait, there they are. Okay. So we will go back into Photomatics, load our bracketed photos. There they are. From here to here, hold down Shift, open, okay, let it do its thing. You know what, let me slow down. Align source images. I was on a tripod. I don't have this turned on. I don't need it turned on. Remove ghosts. It's like if you have motion, the software will remove some of that. You can reduce noise. Noise is just grain because the HDR software really exacerbates it. And reduce chromatic aberrations, which sometimes I check it, sometimes I don't. This isn't a photo that would have really bad chromatic aberrations, so I don't have it turned on. And then it churns through and does its thing. And what it's doing is it's going by on a pixel-to-pixel level and tries to change the light tone, is really what it's doing. Based on what's next to it. So you can see here we've gone from a little single sliver of light in each of these to see how the brightest one you get a really blown out sky, but you get good detail. With the HDR you get everything. Now this is actually pretty good because this was the last one I did, and these sliders will each picture will have different lighting adjustments. So basically, typically what I do, and this is my style, I crank the strength all the way up, and then everything else is kind of you just slide it till it seems good. And you're not going to get everything totally right in this software. There are major problems with just applying a algorithm to a picture. So you, like, as you can see, you get this strange grayness in the sky, and the edges that are dark next to them get this weird halo, and you can sort of pick up HDRs on the internet based upon how bad the halos are. So I just swing these to where it just sort of feels good. Really wide swings. Gamma, I mean, there's you can see what's sort of going on here with your histogram. Basically, although your far left is your darks and your far right are your lights, and you can see there's one little line here. That's this area. That's what's throwing that spike. But you can see you have this nice smooth curve, which means you generally have all of the light data there, and it will change as you adjust these. So I don't know. We'll change the white point, change the gamma, temperature. You see how it'll get. There's not a lot of temperature changes going. There we go. You make it more orange or more blue. This being ice and water, you can get away with it a little more blue. You can give this picture a little bit of a cold feel, which I find weird that it's kind of neat where your skin sort of picks up where your eyes leave off as far as the IR scale. When you get into the infrared zone, you sort of feel the warmth where you can't see the red anymore. I think it's kind of cool. We'll bring this back up. Micro smoothing. You're not going to get a lot of anything here, but that changes picture to picture. Shadow clipping. We want that all the way down. We want to see all this detail in here. Smoothness kind of just affects this area over here to the left. And we will bring back in a little color saturation. Okay, that looks all right. I'm not going to spend as much time as I did on the first time I did it. So we will process it. it seems like everything's still working fine. Let me go back to just this. Okay. And these new versions let you adjust colors when you're done. I don't really do that. Done. Save image. It will automatically save it as one of the file names. Dot tone mapped. Okay. Close. Close. Then we go back into Bridge. And this is one thing that's cool about Bridge. You have all your images. Go into Tools. Photoshop. Load files into Photoshop layers, and this will automatically launch Photoshop and bring each one into its own layer. And what I'm going to do is sort of Frankenstein parts from each picture that I like. I'm going to close Bridge. I don't need it anymore. Okay. You can see here's the darkest. That sun looks kind of cool. Doesn't start to get really neat up until the sky looks good right here. There's really nothing in this darkest image that I really want. Not even the ice looks that interesting, so I'm going to just delete it. And then this one. I might bring in some of the sun, so here's... If there's a little button down here to bring in a layer mask, bring that in. And what else I'm going to do is bring in, you have an all-white background, so you're painting with a black brush. You can adjust your opacity. If it's at 100, it just brings in everything. So I'm going to... I have a large brush, as soft as I can make it. About 50%. Let me bring some of this in. I think that's a little too drastic. I changed my mind. I'm going to bring this one in instead. And just kind of color in this more natural feeling sky. And sky is tricky. I will say that that is the truth. Sure. Anyway, people have a very sense of what is real and what's not real when it comes to their skies. There's nothing else I really like. So we will merge these layers. I may have gotten a little carried away up here. I will bring some of this layer in. Actually, you know what? I'm going to erase some of this. I don't like that I did that. I made this too black. I want to turn my opacity way down. Oops. I want black. There we go. I'm going to darken these rocks. They feel a little brighter than the sun. That doesn't seem right. Okay. Now I'm going to merge these. Anything else I like? There's nothing else I really like. Now what I did on the other one was I definitely cleaned up these spots. They're just scratches on the lens. I was shooting at a high f-stop. I was shooting at f22 to really get this sunburst effect, which means you're going to end up seeing blemishes on the lens. So there's things I did definitely go in and clean up. And I'll merge these. And what I did was I actually added some... Actually, what I did was Control J, copy layer, filter, blur, motion blur, 10 pixels, or 39 pixels at like 10 degrees. I wanted to give the water some more blur. Then I went back in and I masked back out. Like, maybe I could make my brush big. Bring this all back in. Especially this ice and the rocks. Because it was very bright. It was hard to get a nice long shutter speed to give you that nice silky water that we all like. And by we, I mean I really like. And then if you're feeling adventurous, you can add some textures. You can do a bunch of stuff. I think actually what I even did... Oops. I clicked the wrong thing. Merge layers. I cropped it. I didn't like these twigs down here at the bottom. There. And that is it. That is a basic, quick and dirty, how I process that photo. Generally, I will save my PSDs in their own folder. And then sometimes I will save, and then once I save the PSD, I go in and do a save as. You can get fancy and run a script if you're into that sort of thing. JPEG. And I always save at the highest resolution, but the problem is with some of these files, these D800 files, they're massive. So even a JPEG, right now it's going to be 18 megs. So if it's going up on Facebook, I'll knock it down to around 10 megs. I do upload the full res one on my SmugMug, so if there's anything that you like on Facebook, you can get the full res version on SmugMug. So I am going to close that out, and that is quickly how I edit my HDR photos. Sometimes I do HDR only in Lightroom or apply a preset. And I'll show you those too. Don't worry. Don't worry. But that's it for now. I guess post comments, questions. I'm still new at this. I don't really know what I'm doing. Anyway, bye.